All right, we're going to the last part of this series. Their 2030 agenda. Okay, this is. They promise by 2030 you will own nothing. Needless to say, the central bank can control how and when you spend your money and eliminate your ability to save up for large purchases, say such as a house or car. The idea is you have to rent everything. Corbett shows a video clip from a lecture where presenters explain that the direction we are going is to from products to services. Everybody's product is a service waiting to be happy. What she means by this, but instead of buying something once and owning it for as long as you please, eventually you won't have the option to buy anything outright. Your only option would be to lease the product you want, which means paying a fee every month for as long as you keep it. And who owns all the items that we, the public, rent? They do, but who are they? Identifying actual individuals who are pulling the strings and laying down these long-term plans is extremely difficult. How we can, however, identify organizations that play important roles based on their ideologies, actions, and from their specific people within the organizations who seem to wield great influence. We can also tell that the Great Reset is a technocratic agenda. It stands to reason that those individuals are referred to as technocrats. The WEF is unfortunately part of this agenda, and Schwab is undoubtedly a technocrat of the highest order. I'm going to play you a short video. This is the future of work. This is work as they see in the future.
It's easy to imagine a future filled with flying cars, holograms, and never-ending viral videos. But as the future of work becomes more and more digital, it becomes harder to grasp what that will actually look like and how we will fit into it.
We have the opportunity to say, like, what is it that really takes the most advantage of people's ingenuity and creativity?
There's always these moments where technology has forced us into a different direction. And in most cases, it's been positive.
You can think of robots and AI as helping you to remove the most redundant parts of your day in your life so you can focus on the higher level thinking. I'm excited about that future.
For the vast majority of us, the workplace is rapidly changing, and it can feel like we're speeding towards the unknown. By 2025, 85 million jobs may be displaced by technological advancements, which is a scary number. But at the same time, 97 million new roles may emerge that'll be adapted to a new division of labor between humans, machines, and algorithms. There are a whole host of emerging industries that'll create a range of new jobs, just one of which is drone piloting. Andy and Athambi from Wingcopter are using drones to help improve people's lives.
We are currently optimizing supply chains in Malawi, specifically delivering medicine.
Transit is not possible through roads, so drones come in and help poorer and less advantaged people have access to medicine.
And what's really interesting right now with the drone industry is we're seeing drone academies in Benin and Sierra Leone that are essentially addressing the skill gap in Africa when it comes to this high-tech technology.
So I see drone technology being such an emerging market that allows for opportunities, not just in piloting, but in maintenance, in auxiliary staff, and in other sectors.
For many people, automation is a scary word, because they think of machines that are essentially taking away their job. What we all have to realize is that through technology, we are actually going to have better standards, better skilled jobs, more opportunity, and traditional jobs will transition into new and more exciting jobs for the future.
Andy and Athambi's work is representative of many of these new roles, taking machines and making them work for us. In the same way that workers had to learn how to use the machines and tools in the first industrial revolution, it's going to be up to us to learn how to use the tools of the future in this fourth industrial revolution. That means more people learning how things like software and robots function. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, it just isn't going to fly anymore. People working today will see the share of their core skills change by up to 40% in the next 5 years. Reskilling will become key to this transition. The good news is that it's never been easier to learn new skills. Many companies are prioritizing training to build a secure future for themselves and their employees, with 2 out of 3 expected to see a return on investment in reskilling their workforce. What's more, the internet has made self-education both accessible and affordable. Christo set up creative education company The Future to help people make a living doing what they love.
Everything that you want to learn is available on the internet, and we can explore in ways that are very low risk to us. Because imagine the old approach, which is I have to submit an application to university or college. And so that means there's a whole bunch of prep work I have to do. And even for some people, the admission fees and essays, the barrier to entry is just too high. In this way, I think, especially with all the resources, workshops, courses, ebooks, training, one-on-one mentorship, peer groups, all that kind of stuff, that's available at very low cost, so you can dip your toes into something, find out if this is a good fit for you, and then decide this is where I want to do a deep dive. And you can learn at your own pace, which I love.
Doesn't seem quite as scary now, does it? Still, you'd be forgiven for thinking that the future is going to be all ones and zeros. Although digital literacy is going to be incredibly important, it is in fact the soft skills that are going to be at the core of the average future worker. In a world where hybrid remote working will be more common, self-awareness and self-management will be king. Roles centered around employee well-being and community will become more important, and emotional intelligence will be necessary for managers to provide proper support and foster happier, more fulfilled teams. We may even start to see official certification of these softer skills, allowing for greater freedom to transfer between industries. One of these growing industries will be the care economy. With our ever-growing and aging population, care for the elderly, the vulnerable, and children will become a high priority. In a society that's increasingly putting well-being above other concerns, this sort of job will become more common as investment moves to social infrastructure. Andrea is discovering how investing in robots is making hospital care more human-centered.
Even before the pandemic, we were already seeing the care sector being stretched and there being a renewed focus on how do we really kind of stem the burnout that people are feeling. If you talk to most nurses and clinicians, like the part of their job that they love the most is when they have that kind of deep connection with their patients. And so I think it's great if we can think of ways that automation, like Moxie, taking away some of the mundane delivery tasks, can kind of open up more time for the parts of a person's job that they really love. There may end up being more and more interactions that patients have with automation and technology, but in the end, that caregiving experience that you have that's really person to person, I don't see how that's ever going to go away.
As you can see, far from the uncaring image of technology in science fiction, it can actually increase our capacity to take care of each other. It can also help us to care for our planet. In the coming years, climate action is going to need to kick into overdrive, and this means 2 things: innovation and new jobs. Just one example of these jobs is coral farming. With more coral reefs dying off each year, coral restoration is more important than ever. But the current process is labor-intensive and requires an advanced skill set. However, people like Stephen are using technology to open up these coral farming roles to a wider group.
Charm is a device that allows coral restoration practitioners the ability to grow thousands to hopefully millions of coral by the touch of a button. This robot will have on board the artificial intelligence and the ability to clean coral, feed coral when they're hungry, identify pests, and do the general maintenance tasks that a lot of people need to do but don't quite have the time or resources.
There is a growing need for people to be working in this space for green technology, for sustainable practices. What we actually need is a group of people to say, this is the kind of future that we want, where we integrate technology with the environment and we flourish. And we want to have a job in an industry that promotes thriving.
The future of work is coming. For some, it's already here. It can be a bright future, a future that can improve our well-being and the well-being of the planet. So while automation can sound scary, with careful regulation and policies that promote equal opportunities and inclusion, there are ways it can make our working lives happier, more effective, more human.
How you guys like that? We all know Amazon's talking about using drones to deliver. Imagine your nurse being a robot, man. That is very interesting. This next video I'm going to touch on real quick, and then we will finish up with their 2030 agenda. We all know Facebook changed their name to Meta. Okay, they want to invent this place called Metaverse. Okay, best way I can explain this is if you guys ever seen the movie Demolition Man. It's an older movie. It's Wesley Snipes, Sylvester Stallone in it. Sylvester Stallone gets brought back. You know, when you go to jail, they cryo freeze you, I guess. And he gets brought back into this future world where you swear at this little thing on the wall prints you out a citation. You know, just everything's not what it was when, you know, he was alive. When you think of the metaverse, that's what you kind of think of VR right now, you know, with the goggles you wear. That will be part of it. I'm going to play this quick video on the metaverse, and then we'll finish up on what their 2030 agenda is.
normally I work through the day on a helicopter. Obviously on days like today where we've got sort of low-lying mist and fog, the helicopter's going to struggle to sort of get there and get up there. And you know, there's a bit of a gap between what the aircraft can achieve getting us there in poor weather and us getting there hiking up on foot, deploying from a car, and hopefully, you know, this gives us the opportunity to look at other options to get care to those patients quickly.
Okay, I would have to say it's pretty cool it would be to have a jetpack. That would be neat. Anyway, let's go into our 2030 agenda. Private property and privacy will vanish by 2030. Let's see here. They made 8 predictions for the world in 2030. The world will come quite a different place from now because how people work and live will undergo a profound change. The scenario for the world in 2030 is more than just a forecast. It is a plan whose implementation has accelerated drastically since the announcement of a pandemic and the consequent lockdowns. According to the projections of the WEF's Global Future Councils, private property and privacy will be abolished during the next decade. The upcoming expropriation would go farther than even communist demand to abolish the property of production goods, but leave space for private possessions. My bad. WF projection says that consumer goods too would no longer be private property, so you basically would not own nothing. Let's see here. WEF projections should come true. People would have to rent and borrow their necessities from the state, which would be the sole proprietor of all goods. Supply of goods would be rationed in line with social credit point system. Shopping in the traditional sense would disappear along with the private purchase of goods. Every personal move will be tracked electronically, and all production will be subject to the requirements of clean energy and sustainable environment. In order to gain sustainable agricultural food supply will be mainly vegetarian. So if you like your meat, 2030, you're going to be a vegetarian. In the new totalitarian service economy, the government will provide basic accommodation, food, transportation, while the rest must be lent from the state. The use of natural resources will be brought down to its minimum. In cooperation with a few key countries, the global agency would set the price of CO2 emissions at an extremely high level to de-incentivize its use. So basically, you produce CO2 emissions, you would pay a fine, I guess. This is their 8 predictions. Number 1, people will own nothing. Goods are either free of charge or must be lent from the state. Number 2, the United States will no longer be a lending superpower, but a handful of countries will dominate. Number 3, organs will not be transplanted but printed. Number 4, meat consumption will be minimized. Number 5, massive displacement of people will take place with billions of refugees. 6, to limit the emission of carbon dioxide, the global price will be set at an exorbitant level. 7, people can prepare to go to Mars and start a journey to find alien life. And 8, Western values will be tested to this breaking point. We see a lot of this implemented now. Massive displacement, billion refugees. Our southern borders open. United States no longer leading superpower. Our country, our military, is slowly being knocked down. Where we're not going to be a superpower if we keep on going on the same journey we're on now. Which one I want to read? In the publication from the World Economic Forum with the Danish eco-activist Ida Auken, who has served as their country's Minister of the Environment from 2011 to 2014, still a member of the Danish Parliament, has elaborated a scenario of a world without privacy or property and welcome to 2030. She envisions the world where I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been better. By 2030, she says the scenarios, shopping, and owning have become obsolete because everything that once was a product is now a service. In the idyllic new world of hers, people will have free access to transportation, accommodation, food, and all things that we need in our daily lives. These would be free of charge. It ended up not making much sense for us too much. There would be no private ownership of houses, nor would anyone pay rent, because someone else is using our free space whenever we don't need it. A person's living room, for example, will be used as a business meetings when one is absent. Concerns like lifestyle diseases, climate change, and refugees crisis, environmental degradation, complete congested cities, water pollution, air pollution, social unrest, and unemployment are things of the past. The author predicts that people will be happy to enjoy such a good life that is so much better than the path we were on, where it became so clear that we cannot continue in the same model of growth. So that, guys, is their 2030 agenda. You own nothing, you have no privacy, the government supplies your basic needs, and you rent the stuff that you need. I guess you basically would have to rent a toothbrush, toothpaste. I'm guessing it's just some sick stuff. I hope this little thing of videos, it kind of sheds light on why we're headed the way we are. It's all a plan. A lot of stuff that's happening now is some of the stuff they're predicting, and they're saying by 2030 it's going to be here. Well, they want it to be here, and the rate they're going, they're pushing it. They're pushing it hard. So this was just a quick overview of what they're planning to do. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I tried to keep the videos short. This one was a little longer because there's a little bit more to cover. But you guys just do your own research, so you can understand why things are happening the way they are. And I guess try to implement change as much as we can, because if we don't stick up for ourselves, they're just going to throw this on us, and we're not going to own nothing. It's sad what the United States is now and what it may become in the future if we don't stand up for our Constitution, our rights. I mean, that there, guys. Any ideas? Put them in the comments. I don't know what my next video is going to be. We'll find something. But until then, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for some more interesting videos.